Welcome to Class 3, where we'll dive into culture, American and Brazilian. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about yourself and to learn more about us. We are confident that God has all things in His hands and that we will be workmen approved by God by studying up and being faithful to learn all we can. Brazilians are a warm, friendly people who welcome you hospitably. They will appreciate every attempt you make to speak their language, and will often attempt to speak English. Don't be offended if someone can't understand you or begins laughing. They are enjoying your differences, not putting you down. Vale a pena.
So take some time to imagine with me a tree. There's fruit, branches, trunk, and roots. You got that tree in your head? Excellent. So thinking about this tree representing our worldview. So what are the different parts of our worldview? Think about your values, your beliefs, your behavior, and the consequences that your behavior has. If we would relate the different things of our worldview to that tree, what part would what represent? So for example, what would the fruit be? The fruit would be the consequences of our actions from our worldview, that stem from our worldview. The branches, that would be our behavior. So our behavior then affects, the fruit, obviously, the consequences. The trunk, what is it that holds us up? Those are our values. And going all the way down to the roots, that would be stemming from our beliefs. So Che has a really great diagram, and it's already there on you. So ideas have consequences. So the fruit, the branches, the trunk, and the roots. And the consequences, behavior, values, and the beliefs. So as we think about this, and this is for every one of us has our own worldview, how does this apply then going to a different country, having a different worldview, a different culture? So looking down here, we have the growing healthy cultures. And you can see this weak little tree has a lot of lies planted in the culture and only a little bit of truth. Whereas this healthy tree has a lot of truth and only a couple lies. So thinking about that, what are Satan's strategies for destroying nations? He has specific strategies, and those are listed. If someone could please open up their Bible and read Revelations 20, verses 3, 7, and 8. If someone else could please find 2 Corinthians 4:4. And if someone else could please find 1 Timothy 4:1. Take some time to read these together and really discuss the strategies that Satan uses to attack and kill our culture. We put together a basic idea if you wanted to study and learn a little bit more, get into details, hopefully talk with your team about these different subjects, about the history, the culture, the food of Northeast Brazil. It's different from Southern Brazil. How come? Like, what are the things that have made that? The politics, very different from America. Like, a lot of times we just take what we think it is and then we're like, oh, let's plug that in to what it is in Brazil. No, they have a completely different history. They have a completely different backstory. The other day somebody asked me if we celebrated Thanksgiving in Brazil. And I was like, well, we didn't have any pilgrims that came to Brazil. We had conquistadors. So there's a lot of different history there. We probably wouldn't celebrate that. Know who speaks English, who doesn't, what's common there, time differences, personal space, American stereotypes. So the more we know about our own culture, the more it is to recognize maybe someone else's culture. Just because we're like, oh, I have a tendency to do this and this and this. So when I see somebody else have a tendency to do something else, it makes a little more sense to us instead of just being like, why is that person being weird? That's not the best way to do things, maybe. Body gestures, stick with thumbs up. The okay sign can be not great. Dressing, tap water, we have all of these different things listed. You can look at it. There's a big one. No toilet paper in the toilets. You put it in the trash can next to the toilets. Electronics is another big thing. We make sure to talk to your teammates about that. We will make sure to get, you can get the box in Brazil is 2 circles. Okay, so most American plugs are like 2 lines or 3, like a circle and 2 lines. If you look at it, like it looks like a little face. So you can get a little plug in, so you can plug into 2 little circles into the wall. But you also need to be careful about it's 220 instead of 110. So there's a lot of more electricity going through the lines at once. So you can fry things really easily. Honestly, I have just had so many bad experiences with hair dryers. If there's any way possible, please just don't bring hair dryers. I know that might be really hard for some people, but it's just so much easier because I've just blown up so many hair dryers. Apple products, most electronics can now handle either one. You can look at like the brick if you have like a laptop, and it will normally say 110, 220, which is fine, or 240. We have found that oftentimes Apple products are not great. It's not great on them. So we will try to have a transformer that sort of like acts as a surge protector as well, so that the power coming into your thing, your electronic device, doesn't ruin it. Class 3 homework, it's not super fun. It's not fun today, sorry guys, but it is important. So just know for World Renewal, we are probably going to be with lots of different kids. Living Stones is a huge part of the ministry there. The international school is a huge part of the ministry there. You'll probably be in the churches with lots of different kids at some time, way, shape, or form. And so working with children, we need to go above and beyond to protect them and to do the best that we can to make their families feel that we are also protecting them. So we ask that you at least know the names of the children before you post them. I don't know if you've heard of Savior Complex or seen different people who often go to Africa, different influencers who are on social media, go to Africa and pose for a picture in front of a bunch of children, and sort of be like, look at the amazing thing I'm doing. That's definitely not the vibe that we want to give off, that we are going somewhere to save people or to help people. Let's think about missions trips differently. Let's think about how we post on social media differently. We can do better. So we also ask that if you become friends on Facebook with any minors in Brazil, that you refrain from personal messages, that you put everything post publicly. So for example, if they send you a personal message, you would just go to their Facebook page and write publicly, "It was so good to hear from you. I had such a great time getting to meet you in Brazil," or whatever you would like to say. We're not saying you can't connect and it's not a good thing. Just keep it public, just as that's an added protection for them and for you. So there's different things online, short-term missions, social media guidelines on chambers.org. There's a lot of really great resources online. So I just put down a couple of them. Protecting Children in Short-Term Missions from bettercarenetwork.org. The whole thing is 92 pages. You don't have to read all of it. I mean, it's really good. You can read all of it if you want. But just page 70 and 71 specifically talks about what we're discussing. And then included in your notes, your PDF, is Living Stone's official media relations policy and child protection policy, just for you to know. If you've already read lots of child policies, you'll probably recognize that this is pretty standard of what's there. If you've never seen something like this, well, welcome to the club. This is important stuff and part of the world we live in today.